place from the gas company, and I've got a really good deal for you. I have a little bit of experience in state government. I was a New York State Senator for 20 years, and 6 of those years I chaired the Agriculture Committee. And if any of you are from this immediate area, you may remember me railing against those late night sessions and the awful things that happened to us. But I'm also a beef producer, and I sat in a meeting a little over a year ago, and I listened in utter amazement and dismay when I heard an explanation about what was happening with gas leasing and the term compulsory integration came up. And I asked the people who were running the meeting for a little bit more information about it, because I was sure it hadn't happened on my watch, and I didn't really know how it could have happened. Well, I didn't know how it could have happened. I said, that sounds like one of those things that happened the last night of session with a deal cut and sealed in a back room someplace, and then it was just slid out on the desks for the legislature to vote on in both houses with something called a message of necessity from the governor, of all things, along with hundreds of other equally horrible, arguably very equally horrible deals, but really bad pieces of legislation. Well, the individual who was working at a particular event did the research, found out, yes, in fact, it had passed the last night of session, 2005, in those late night hours. Now, I can tell you that when a legislator is in session, it's recorded in-house voting, they are voting in favor of everything that passes that particular calendar day, which means that between the hours of midnight and maybe 6 or 8 a.m., empty chairs in the Senate chamber and in the Assembly chamber, I can only speak for my own house, but that's the rule. Empty chairs are voting in favor of horrible pieces of legislation. That's how we got compulsory integration. Now, all of the things that you've heard today and a lot of other forums deal with how we are on the receiving end of a bad law. I have a very different suggestion for you. I am with a group of other people that are equally offended. We're all farmers or landowners, and we believe that we should be treated better and we should have that law repealed. Instead of just accepting it, it's our government, we pay the taxes, and by golly, we are the stewards of the land. We pay lots of taxes, but we also protect our land in a way that everybody benefits. All of us are responsible for water quality. We're regulated all over the place about what we do with our land, especially as it affects water. We should have our rights respected, and we should get that law repealed. There are 2 other things that we need that deal with this issue as well. One is something to govern the way the gas companies approach people looking for a lease. Right now, they can go out willy-nilly and say whatever the heck they want. There is no penalty for them to misrepresent themselves or misrepresent the lease. You've already heard from Brett and everybody else how these leases can be misrepresented, or there can be a change, and who knew what primary and secondary terms are all about. All of that should be disclosed from the get-go, along with the nature of the well, the fact that it may go down X number of feet and then out a half a mile. Most people don't even hear that. The issue of spacing units. Now, it was mentioned, and you saw a wonderful graph, I think, that you put it up. No, there were a couple of things that showed spacing. Spacing units are not something that were created by our government for our benefit. That is a term of art for the convenience of the gas industry. They came up with the idea that they want to be able to go out and sign up a certain amount of land. They'll call it a spacing unit. And then when they get to the point of 60% of the land signed up, and that's their figure too, they put all of that into this compulsory integration law, and they managed to get what they wanted that was convenient for their industry. There wasn't a negotiation that had us at the table. There weren't farmers sitting there saying, I don't want to be that little corner of land up there that gets tacked on after my neighbor signs a lease that's good for him. Because that darn compulsory integration law forces us into it, whether we want it or not, forces us into it at a lesser amount, whether that's fair or not. If I call it, we just should put up with that. Now, I don't want to take a whole lot more of your time. There's a lot to see here at the show. The third thing that we need is a fund managed by the state, but funded by the gas companies for compensation and remediation when something does go wrong on private land or in a municipality. You know, I think that I've got a wonderful highway system great guy. But he is in no way an engineer equipped to know in advance how many trucks it's going to take to mess up the town roads. But he's the guy that's going to have to go out and do the repairs on it, and he's going to have to come back to the taxpayers in our town to pay for it, unless we go to court. And then who's going to fund all of those legal battles? So this gas industry, with its millions and millions of dollars of lobbying and public relations, government affairs work, has managed to get everything that it wants in law and some things in regulation. And it is time for us to say we need those laws changed. So we have, thank you, we have, now we're just a bunch of taxpayers and farmers like everybody else here. Come visit us over at the meat producers. We're over there in the dairy building, the Toyota building, on the other side of the fairgrounds. And we are inviting other people to join us and do just a couple of very simple things. Let your own town board know how you feel, and there is a resolution that supports these three items: repeal compulsory integration, enact the Landowner's Bill of Rights, and establish a compensation and remediation fund. Get that passed at your local town board, and then get a group of other neighbors and taxpayers and farmers together and go see your state legislators. They don't hear from us enough. We don't tend to put pressure on them. When we're with them, we're usually very polite to them. Other special interest groups don't operate that way. And we are a special interest group. Heck, we should be the most special interest group in the state. We're still the #1 industry in the state of New York. But our influence in our state capital is about down here, folks. And we are not regarded as a big threat. They're not scared of us. Well, it's time for us to let them know that going into the next election cycle, if we don't get that compulsory integration law repealed and get these other things done, that a few of them are going to be out of work. So that's my whole pitch. And come on over and see us at the Land Stewards booth, and we'll give you a couple of these flyers. That's really all you have to do. But we shouldn't be on the receiving end having to spend all this time learning how we can protect ourselves against a law or a bunch of laws that were wrong in the first place. Let's make those laws right for us.